From the first time he read, I knew he was going to be the guy that I'd want.
Cyrus is right about one thing. It's all out there.
Walt had already seen every actor in New York City, and he didn't cast his part. It was the last part that he did not cast, and I walked in there, sat and met with Walter, and after 5 minutes, Walter kind of, looks at you and talks like this a little bit, and he does this a lot, and he looks at you, and he said, "Oh, okay, Harris, I'll see you soon." You know? And I walked out, and I remember I just ran down the stairs, got off the elevator, and ran out of the building. Couldn't wait till I get to the first public phone to call my agent. "Jackie, I think. And she's like, "David, calm down, David, calm down." Next day, she called me back. She said, "David, you're in the worst."
How come you're so happy about this? I'm having a good time.
That was my first film, The Warriors, my debut. Walter Hill and Larry Gordon saw me in a Broadway play called Working, and I did a monologue in that play about a hippie who espoused peace and love, but was actually extremely passive-aggressive.
And he sang and played the guitar, and he played very positive guys. And somehow when I saw it, I thought this guy would make a great villain.
That rang some bells for those guys, and they just saw that that would be something useful for Luther. I looked right for the part. I had this long hair that I wanted to cut, but I had to keep for that part in Working, and they decided it was right for this too.
He was obviously a very good actor, and he's got a kind of Richard III kind of quality.
Walter described it as Richard III, which hit the bullseye for me, and that's the kind of energy that I tried to bring to it.
You know what that is, don't you? Yeah? Trouble.
Deborah occupies, obviously, the most screen time of any female presence in the movie. She's a very strong actress, and her character probably has the greatest transition and attitude of anybody within the film. She pulled it off, I thought, with enormous style. She's quite theatrical.
I was doing theater, and I had done Hair on Broadway, the revival of Hair. That was my first professional job. Got an agent from that, and then you just start pounding the pavement looking for work, and this project came along. I got the impression we kind of had to push them to see me. And my boyfriend at the time, I'm smiling because he was kind of discouraging me because he thought that they were going to be looking for someone a little more well-endowed, among other things. And my agent was sweet. He said, "You are so well-endowed." I went in, I had a few auditions, and it was really scary. I was reading with various people, and sometimes it went well, sometimes it didn't. Ultimately, what I remember Walter saying when I was chosen, he said, "You were the unobvious choice." And I really appreciated that.
We gonna go for it?
It was a delicate balance that Walter was looking for. We cast it totally out of New York. We didn't bring anybody in from the outside. We really wanted to feel like the movie was New York-based. We wanted it to be true to New York and true to the kind of kids that were there at that time.
We had a wonderful costume designer, Bobby Mannix. I think actually the first real breakthrough for me on the movie in prep was dealing with Bobby, and that every time she would bring something in that was kind of strange, I would not only encourage her, I would encourage her to go further with it.
This is a gang picture, and I'm not from any neighborhood that had any gangs. I would not know a gang from Adam, not at all. I was handed a list of all these wonderful names of gangs that Walter created. And then I just went from there, and then I separate everything by color, or characters by color. And then I just fantasize and come up with these ideas. I just do. I painted the patches different colors. The woman that did all this embroidery, very, very famous woman from England named Rose Clements, who did all this stuff by hand. And she was incredible. I had to separate each individual warrior, and each one of them had a different name, of course, and their names, their own personality, you mix it up, you come out with an individual.
It was kind of Bobby and I kicking it back and forth that put that stuff together. If you can supply a direction, the collaboration of very talented people on a motion picture, there's no end that they can help you. And the look and the style of the picture is very much attributable to Bobby as well as a number of others.
In doing my research, I went to Coney Island, and I'm walking up and down the boardwalk, and there's a tough-looking guy working a concession, a ball toss or something, and there's nobody there. And I tossed a few balls, and I talked with him, and I just asked him, I said, "What kind of people hang around here? What kind of people come from here?" And he puts his arms back, and he smiles, and he says, "The worst kind."
I'll tell you a story about the Warriors, which set the tone for the Warriors as far as I was concerned. I was standing next to Walter, and I looked way down the boardwalk, and there was one of our PAs talking to a very big man who was in kind of raggedy clothes. And our little PA was standing in front of him. I just saw him brush this PA aside. And the PA got back in front of him again. He was trying to stop him walking into our shot. And he started talking very loud, and we just stood there. And the guy finally cleared out of the way, and we proceeded. But I said, uh-oh, this is not going to be easy. This is going to be tough. This is New York. Welcome to New York.
Warriors, come out to play.